I appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can call in if you get excited, want to join in the discussion at 346-314-4119 or 832-604-7949. It's Rhema Gospel Radio. 101.5 FM. If you're rolling in your car, we're going to be bringing the gospel heat to the streets. Not me, because I can't sing. You put your head.
Welcome to the Blueprint Radio broadcast with Bea Well, the architect of affirmation, helping you renovate your mindset and fit God's code to design your ultimate self in the areas of fitness, finance, relationship, faith, and self-growth. Now, here's your radio hostess, Bea Well.
Great Monday morning, everyone. Today is July 15th, 2019. You're listening to The Blueprint with Bea Well, your architect of affirmation, giving you your weekly reminder that you are the head and not the tail. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you win. That's right, you win. You have the victory today. It's Monday, if I didn't say that already. I just love the beginning of the week. Technically, beginning was yesterday on Sunday, but so as you're moving through your week, I just want to remind you how great you are, how wonderful you are, that you were designed for greatness. You were designed for so much. Walk in that today. Be bold and courageous as you attack the day, not worrying about Barry, not worrying about anything scary. Did you catch that? Barry and scary. But just enjoying your day, knowing that it's all good. Take each moment breath by breath. That's another opportunity to keep going and keep growing. Today, here I am extremely excited. We have a guest in the studio. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But again, I want to say thank you for everyone for your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gestures of love and affirmation on my birthday last week. Last Monday was a special birthday edition of the Blueprint because I turned 38. So we're in chapter 38, 7 days in to a glorious chapter in my life. It's been extremely exciting. Already 38 is pretty great. And I have some exciting things coming up that I can't wait to start sharing with you all in the next 30 to 45 days here. But I'm just thankful for the prayers that are out there, and most importantly, for the support of what is happening here at the Blueprint. We are growing and definitely going up, and I'm just excited what God is doing here. I just want to tell everyone, be encouraged in the little things that are happening, what you feel like are the little things that are happening in your life, because you just don't know what God is really going to do through that thing. So I remember almost 8 months ago when I decided to just step out and do something different, saying I was going to do something different and start broadcasting here at Rhema Gospel Radio. And wow, have I seen God just move in that and developing my relationship with him. So I'm just thankful that I took the call, that I wasn't afraid, that I got out of my comfort zone to do something. And I'm telling you that to encourage you to just look at everything as God, as you're taking on each step of the day. Like, God, what you about to do with this? Oh, you told this person said that, or I ran into this person, or I'm wearing this. Nothing is by accident. It's all by design. And I think he likes to see where our faith level is and how we're going to take it, how we're going to look at it, which set of eyes or eyeglasses are we going to look at what's happening to us. And so that's what we really want to talk about today, is birthing the gift inside of you. We all are walking around with gifts and talents that we were born with, that we were that were implanted upon us upon birth to get out and serve a purpose in our own special, unique way. So if you're someone who just kind of feel like, man, where's my shot? Again, you're looking at social media and everybody's life looks perfect. They got it going on. They doing big things. Every time you look up, something is going on for them, and you say, well, when is it my turn? What can I do? What am I good at? And so unfortunately, some of us will start listening to what other people have to say that we should be doing, or you're looking outside of yourself for ideas. Today, we want to remind you to go ahead and look inside of you. You were born with that seed of greatness already. What is in you? What is either lying dormant or that you have recognized, but you only keep it behind closed doors to share? That in your journal you only write about. If you have something like that or thoughts like that, that's where you should touch base. That's your purpose, because it's already natural. Yes, talents are things that we like and can be developed, but you were already born with a gift. You were born, and we all love gifts. Why? Because you get something of value for free. Something you already wanted. You were already interested in it, but thank the Lord somebody else bought it for you. So it's even better, right? A gift card, it's still $50, but it's like a $50 if it's free $50, right? You didn't pay for it. Somebody gave that to you. So there's an excitement about it. Get excited about it. You were born with a gift, and some of us have multiple gifts. I'm rebuking that right now. Jack of all trades and master of none. You know, people tell you that. When I say master of some. Now, the reason I say I rebuke, because we were all born with a different amount of gifts, and you just be blessed if things come easily to you, or you can do things with ease. You don't just have to stay pigeonholed into one thing because you're conditioned to do more. Revel in that God saw something in you, the Holy Spirit, that you were able to have more gifts, and then as you develop your gifts, just like a muscle, anything that gets conditioned, it can carry on more, and you are able to take things to another level and get greater and greater with that. So I just want to remind you, that's what we're talking about today, just birthing the gift inside. So if that's you, if it sounds like you, if you say, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, I'm just going to work so I can pay these bills, or I'm just going to work so I can get away from my kids, today is your discussion. Again, you can join in with us at 346-314-4119. You can follow us behind the scenes live on Facebook at Bea Well Fit. That's BBA Well, WELL. Excuse me, just Bea Well, not Bea Well Fit. We're no longer on that. Bea Well. You can follow behind the scenes. So here we are. I'm going to introduce our guest today. We have Travé Nicole Hunter in the studio. She's an author. Let's give it up. Ooh, a beautiful young lady. I know. Beautiful young lady that I've had the pleasure of meeting just briefly, but just looking at her and following and listening, that I just really believe that God has anointed her and has some great things in store for her. So I thought that, I know I was directed to her as the perfect guest to have in the studio. I've made some adjustments on the show. We've had some incredibly great guests, but I want to make sure that the guests we're bringing in are part of the vision and divinely designed to be in the studio to continue to further what's going on here. So again, we have Travé. Say hello or good morning to everyone out there listening. Everyone. And just thank you again for joining in. I'm really, really excited. It's a sweet spirit. I love just humble people, and I just get a sense of a sweet and humble spirit. But you're a worship leader.
I am.
A praise and worship leader. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and where you're at.
I do lead praise and worship at God Encounter Church on Cutton Road by Willowbrook Mall.
Okay.
Where I am right now is I've written a couple books, and I just put out my first single July 1st.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. So you got a single out. What's the title of your single?
Shift This Place.
Shift This Place. A wonderful song. I've had the pleasure of listening to the song. I like praise dance. I'm a dancer, and I dance things, and it has a beat, but I really don't ever learn words. It sound good. It just sound good. Shift This Place. So again, when I go back and start looking at the lyrics of a song, I'm like, wait, hold on. I missed that, or I missed this. So you said you've written a couple of books. You got a lot of stuff to break down. So was that a gift inside? What inspired you or encouraged you to write?
Well, I've been writing since I was a kid.
Really? Okay.
And I don't really know how it came about. Mm-hmm. It was just something that I did. I wouldn't say that I had the best childhood. Mm-hmm. So it was just something that I did. It kind of was like a getaway for me.
Okay. I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
Because you just dropped your first nugget. She's written a couple. So that's not one. That's not two. That's more than 2 books. But she says, I don't know how I did it. That's your first sign right there. That's a gift. That was a seed that was that you That's not something that just happens.
Right.
That I stumbled across writing a book. That is a gift. So if you're listening, that thing that is just so natural to you that people are in awe of, but is so natural and easy to you, that's a sign that you know that that's a gift, that it was uniquely designed. And so being able to now exhibit that and go forth with it, that's a big deal. So were there ever any challenges in writing when you start publishing your books? What kind of challenges did you feel?
Well, I found myself having to start over a few times.
Okay.
And just because I was writing when I was a kid, and now I'm an adult. And so when I was a kid, I wrote, and it helped me to feel better about myself, to get my thoughts out, my emotions out. And it was a release for me. But now I'm writing for someone else to get their release. And I'm still telling my story and how I feel, but I have to keep in mind that I'm still thinking about other people and what they're going through, and how what I went through can help someone else. So I'm having to take into consideration other people's perspectives, and having to draw a lot from not just what's inside of me, but what God wants me to say to someone.
Absolutely. And that girl, I'll tell you, when the Holy Spirit just moves, He do it. It's easy because that's the second thing. It's your testimony.
Right.
Your life, I would love for people to grasp and revel and just fall in love with the fact that everything that you're going through is divine for you. And for you, because you can handle it. He designed us like, I can put this story in this person. They're going to be able to handle it. They're going to be able to get through it because there's someone else that may be broken by this very same thing. There's someone else who may go left instead of right by this same thing. So I can appreciate someone who can go through something, but then be bold enough to share it because it'll help someone else. Because experience is not the best teacher. You don't want to go through everything. Let somebody that's designed for it go through it and then help you in the beginning. So tell us a little bit more about that. What would you say is your testimony, or the testimony that you like to share about your life?
The testimony that I'd like to share is just that it's kind of like being aware, I guess. Whenever you're going through, well, as a child going through, I was completely unaware that, God is there, or that I have people that support me, that love me, that I can go and talk to someone. As an adult, I'm more aware that God is there, and that what I'm doing and the fact that I'm going through is for someone else. It's not just for me. It's for me, as in I'm growing from what I'm going through, and that's the key thing. But because I grew through it and I made it out of it, somebody else can do the same thing.
Absolutely. That's good. Let's go back about worship. Being a worship leader in song. I'm going to just give my testimony. Again, I like music. When I was in the world, I like to not sing, but I like to dance, right? So, you go to the club when you're younger and get your dance on, right? But why I couldn't understand when I got to church and the music is going, I didn't get that same kind of feeling when my song came on. But as I grew in Christ and was able to start experience praise and worship, first you got to be on time if you're going to get. So that was the first thing. I wasn't on time to church. So if I was saying that church was boring or uninteresting, it's because I was late. And I'll never forget the first time that I was on time to church and I got to start and experience the entire praise and worship. And that's when I was really spoken to, and I could be moved, and I can feel something, and I could connect with what was going on. And I said, wow, this is the way I see God. This is the way I can really commune with God. Tell me a little bit, how would you, for a new believer or a non-believer that's going into church and it may seem loud and like it's just a lot going on, to connect and really to get into worship?
Wow. Okay, so when you were talking, it made me think about something. Because I wrote when I was a kid, and I also sang.
Okay.
The things that I sang, I sang gospel songs because I went to church. But I also sang, more of the things I sang was R&B music, And when I first started getting into singing, I had a huge problem because I felt like I sounded so good doing runs and all this other kind of stuff, singing R&B music, hip-hop music, and things like that. And when I was singing gospel music, I felt like I couldn't do the same thing.
Wow.
Like, it just didn't feel the same to me. I couldn't really connect with it. And so getting older and maturing and growing in God, whenever I started to form that relationship with him, I was able to connect more. And I can honestly say, like, things I could not do runs before. Okay. So, like, my voice has matured as I guess that when you practice, the more you practice, the better you get. Right. But the practice is not just going in and practicing singing and vocal coaching. It's just practicing having a posture of worship. Yes. And getting to know what it is that you're singing about, because that's what it was as far as R&B goes. It's talking about my boyfriend and my girlfriend and all that. And so I could connect with that because that's real life experiences. Right. But the real life experiences is going through and having God bring you out and him be there for you. And so I started to have more of those experiences and being able to connect with him, and it made it more real for me. So I feel like coming in and practicing, which is continuing to go to church and getting there on time so you can experience the full worship experience, staying for the word and being fed, it causes you to have a connection and a deeper relationship with God. You start to understand more, and you can relate to the words that are being sang up there on the stage by the worship leader and the praise team.
Very true. That's very true. Because I don't know if it's a phenomenon or a shift from choirs to like a praise and worship team.
It is. Oh my gosh.
And how does that help, or where did that change come from? Do you know?
Well, I'm not sure. Just for me, from my experience, because I was in the big choir, the youth choir, and all that.
With your robe on.
Yeah. And I could get away from not singing sometimes. Oh. My mouth would be moving, but nothing would be coming out. Okay. So, and you're in this large group, no one can just pick you out. If I sang, somebody could pick my voice out now. But nobody can really pick you out. So you're here, you're with everybody else. I can say I'm up there and I'm worshiping, even if I'm not doing anything. Right. And even though God sees all, it still kind of feels like, okay, he can't see me. He doesn't know if I'm singing or not. And then now it's a smaller group of people. It's more personal. I don't want to say it's more of a commitment, because you have those committed choir people. Right. You have praise team people who are not as committed. They're still up there volunteering. But it's a smaller group of people. And so it makes it a little bit more personal for me, because I can pick you out now. I see you and I can hear you.
And I think that's really good. I like how you're able to frame that. And we do that with our gifts. We know we like something, but because there's a group, we feel like we're hidden. So you lose the level of connection. It's almost kind of like having a connection on your cell phone. Right. You either have that 100% charge or that 20%. And you don't get that full charge where you're in a group. You just kind of sit on it and let it stay low. But when you're out there in a smaller setting, you have to be charged. And because that initial start and that ushering in of the Spirit at the beginning of service is so important. It's foundational to how service is going to go, not the word. Right. Like you said, you should be into dessert time by the time that the sermon comes, not just trying to get it. That's why sometimes we miss the sermon. But praise and worship is that time where you're treading the ground, you're getting at everything turned over so you can really get something, so you can get saturated. But again, with our gifts, when we hide in groups, we're not able to develop because we're not fully charged. So I think that's really key. So now we got to talk about two gifts. You're able to write books and sing. How did you start singing? How did that come about?
Well, like I said, I was in the youth choir when I was a kid, so I sang then. I actually started, getting deeper into it when I was like 9 or 10, and I joined choir at school, and it was mandatory for us to audition for solos. Okay. And so I had to do that, and then I actually realized I was good. Wow. Because I got chosen several times to do the solos. And I started really digging deep and getting into music. Okay. And I did praise dance as well. I actually started doing that first. Okay. But just to open my mouth and hear sound come out and, it sounds good, I can sing.
Wait, you just open your mouth and it sounded good?
I didn't know it sounded good.
Wow.
I guess I wasn't as confident then, but to hear other people say, oh, she can sing, and to have actually gotten a solo, then I had more confidence in myself, and it really built up my self-esteem.
Okay, I'm going to have to, Travé. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop you again. So I need you to really hear that. At 9 years old, no formal training. You weren't going to singing camps at 4 years old and 5. You weren't having private lessons. You sign up, you open your mouth, and you sound good. It feels natural, feels normal. You're not scared. You're not shaking. You're not embarrassed. That's a gift.
It is.
That you were born. That's why that was your design. That was part of your DNA, part of your makeup. And something that I'm getting out of this too that we all need to be conscious of is getting your kids involved. That because the gifts are already there, and as parents, it's so important that we're able to recognize the gifts in our children so that we can help develop them. And when I say you got to be looking for those clues, looking at your children, and if you don't have kids, look for that in your mates. Look for that in your family members so that you can encourage them. Auntie, man, you always organize the family reunion so well. Have you thought about this? Or do you do this? Maybe your job should shift into this area or a business in this area. And we got to start really being able to encourage each other by searching for their gifts, especially if the person hasn't discovered them. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
And then once you do, I think you'll find and get a really good conversation that people will say, I kind of always wanted to do that. I just didn't tell nobody. Or I would do it, but it's not money in that. And so we start shying away from things because it doesn't provide, we don't think it'll provide for us financially or give us the lifestyle that we want. And it's the danger in that because that was God's way of getting his purpose across and helping to build the kingdom. And so I got to keep reminding us, the whole purpose of us having these gifts is not for us to sit on them. It's for us to share them because it's kingdom building. It's advancement for the bigger picture. It's not about you. We are just vessels. It's not about you. But to be able to be a kid. So who was it or helped you develop your faith? Because I'm hearing you say that you kind of grew up in the church. Who was key in that, or why was that important, or now that you can see that was important in your life?
My grandmother actually was really key.
And grandma.
Because grandmas and mothers, they get you up, they yell at you, they scream at you, they threaten you to get up and go to church and be there on time. And so I went through all that. I slept in the church. I had food in the church, and one time it fell out of my pocket and I got in trouble.
There you go.
But I was there. And then I remember one time at a Bible study, my grandmother actually called me up and she made me read the word for her. She had to teach Bible study that night, and I had to read the word for her.
Wow.
And at first I wasn't understanding what I was reading. And eventually as I kept reading, I'm like, okay, these are some good stories. I'm understanding what's being said. And then outside of the church at home, because my grandmother raised me, it was the same things.
Right.
And so we started sitting down and she would talk to me about things that happened in the Bible. And it was just like a one-on-one conversation. It wasn't like she was teaching me. We were talking having a conversation.
Wow.
And so it really was her that pushed me. Now, when I started singing, I did get on her nerves. So she supported me, but it was just like all day. I'm tired of hearing this.
Wow.
And I know she's proud of me now. But she really pushed me to just go forward in everything that I'm doing and to not stop and not quit and remember what I'm doing it for, which is a big thing for me now, because I just now have realized, like you were saying, that there's people outside that are gifts that we're called to, and our gifts are just to minister to those people and help those people. Right. And yes, I'm the worship leader at a church, but that can get really comfortable, and it did get really comfortable for me.
Good.
So stepping out and putting a single out there for other people to hear, not just me sing, but the words that God gave me to sing, that's a big thing. And I feel like that's where I'm really doing something, where I'm really using my gift, and I'm not just showing up and doing the routine thing every day or every Sunday at church.
That's really good. You just hit on something, but I'm going to give us a break so we can chat a little bit into our peeps behind the scenes. And we'll pick up back up. We're talking about being comfortable and sitting on your gifts. So again, we've been talking with the incredible, gorgeous, lovely, humble Miss Travé Nicole Hunter, author of, tell us the book title.
Dear Daughter.
Dear Daughter. And newly released single July 1st.
Shift This Place.
Shift This Place. How can we find your single, listen to your single?
You can find it on every music outlet that's out there. iTunes, Apple Music, Pandora, Spotify, CD Baby, Amazon Music, everything. Everywhere you look.
We're going to figure out how, we're going to go to a quick break, figure out how we can Shift This Place on Rhema Gospel Radio. It's The Blueprint with Bea Well. We'll be back. That's a call. Oh, that's a song. Okay, just take a quick break.
Change part. Pick up the phone.
Change.
You used to dance for Satan, but now you dance for the Lord. Leave it alone.
See, I still dance though. I do that in church too. How you feel?
Good.
That's something I did.
Hey, Jocelyn.
Good morning, everyone. Where y'all at? Someone says they love the title. It's a really, Adrian, you should listen to it. It's very, very good. You'll like it. I don't know what's going on with this brother today.
You got something going on. You might want to go in the restroom right quick and check that out.
Okay, so everybody see the process right here behind the scenes. Not gonna worry about it. Yeah, when we go back, I want to talk about we've been getting comfortable with this kind of stuff. I know how to do this. I got this. I got a little notoriety here. Show me for this. How you keep progressing in that, and then kind of some of the lessons that go with that. Look, oh, I thought it was gonna be easy. I'm gonna talk about your support system with your husband, how you guys work together,
Thank you, Jocelyn.
Is your family on?
I don't know if they're on yours.
My live is kind of major light today. But I think they can still see it even if they're not your friend or whatever. Because I always get people saying, I love you are, you're my best friend. So I don't think it is somebody, whoever gets that, the person that needs to hear this. And you're at God Encounter Church on Cutting. You tell your pastor, your lady.
Yeah, my first lady is here.
Don't look at my hair.
To the left and the right, we put it down for Christ so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night.
Thank you for watching as usual. You don't have children, do you?
She's like, nah.
What's the name of the song?
It's called Change Partner. We did that years ago. But you know, it's like we used to dance for Satan, but now we dance for the Lord. Then they come up with this hook. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. I'm putting it down for Christ so we can dance all night.
Hey. Okay, we're going to talk about that too.
We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We put it down for Christ so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We put it down for Christ so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We put it down for Christ so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet from the left to the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We put it down for
Please tell your mother to call me.
all night.
We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We put it down for Christ so we can dance all night. We shuffle our feet to the left and the right. We represent the trade so we can dance all night.
Great Monday morning. We're back here on the Blueprint with Bea Well. We have Travé, Nicole, Hunter in the studio. Let's give it up for her again. We're not ready for that, but we're going to give it up. Oh, there we go. Man, if you missed the first part of today, you already missed a treat. You done missed out. But guess what? We got some more for you. We've been talking about birthing the gift inside of you, how to identify the gift that's inside of you. How to identify it? It's what comes easy to you, what's natural, what's first nature to you, what's easy, what do people describe you by, how do your family know you? That's your gift. That's the easiest way, I would say. That's the first way that you can identify it. And I'm going to leave it at that. But because it may not be the gift or that quote-unquote thing that God wants to use you for, wants you to use, but if you work with what's natural and easy for you, then that may lead you to that area that God is really wanting that has purpose for. And then we talked about the testimony, everything that you're going through in your life, good or bad. Testimony doesn't have to be negative and doom and gloom. And I think some people shy away from that. Also, depending on probably how you grew up. Because testimony service, that was torture when I was growing up. You didn't want to, or you didn't want to, I said, man, I don't want a testimony because those people seem like they really went through some horrible things to be able to stand up. But I do believe that you can have a testimony of just some wonderful things that have happened, the blessings that are able to happen in your life. But you have to be doing something. There is action behind acceleration. You have to be moving. And so, again, I'm speaking to the person that if you feel like you're stuck or you're at a dormant or stagnant place in life, ask yourself, am I acting on anything? You may not know where you want to go, and you may not like what you're doing. But you have to keep moving. You will definitely never find or progress and get not get comfortable, get to that place of comfort. Because you do want to have that sweet feeling where you're doing good and that you feel great about something. So you want to get to a place of comfort but not be comfortable. And that's what we want to talk about next. What is it when, and this is for our listeners as well, you know what you know how to do, right? You're on your job for a long time, or you have your volunteer positions. You kind of have developed your life. I go to work, I'm good at this, I do this at church, and we're good at that. We have our system. I want you to talk with us a little bit, Travé, about how you can recognize, number one, when you're getting comfortable in your gift. Was there ever a time you experienced that?
For me, I would say that I don't always recognize when I'm getting comfortable. I feel like God does something to me to get my attention. I start getting irritated and I start feeling like I'm tired of doing this. Something else needs to be done. I need to move around or move up. Do something.
I think that perfect. That I love that response, and I can agree with that 100%. And I think that's the enemy. You're so good at something. You can do it with your eyes closed, and now I don't want to do this no more. I don't like this. You start everything that used to be roses and ice cream. Now you have a disdain for it. You don't have that same taste in your mouth for it. That's the enemy's sly little way of saying, come on, let me get you off track from your purpose. I think that's really good. So recognize that if you're in a place where you've been doing something, the same thing for a while, and now you're starting to say, I need a change. I need to do something different. You don't even know what you want to do, but you're just telling yourself, I need to do something different. I would really encourage you to pray. Really dig deep and pray about that, because it may just be, like you said, not your time to shift away from it, but a time now to level up, to take it to a different level.
when you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're not putting all of your effort
there
into
you
it.
go. You lost your charge. So
Right.
now you yourself, it's 20%. You're not fully
Right.
engaged. So you're not getting a full source. You're not connected that you can be right there in a place to truly hear from God, to hear and to know spiritually what to do to get that urging. So I think that's really good. So once you recognize that you're comfortable, do you have a mantra or something that you do or a system to say, I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone now to level up and to take something higher?
So this is what I just got, what just came to mind is that, okay, you start feeling stuck, but then you have to ask yourself, I feel stuck right now, but am I being still? Because we're stuck. When we get stuck, our minds are not still. We're not at peace. Our minds are wondering.
Yeah.
And more often than not, we're wondering about other people. Well, I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm doing right. I'm praying to God. I'm reading my word. I have that relationship with him. But this person over here, they're moving up. They're getting paid. They're getting all these promotions. So I'm doing everything right. So why is it that they're moving along, but they're not concerned with what you're doing or what you're going through?
They focused.
And so sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, which for me, going back to the drawing board is saying, okay, God, where did I go wrong? Or what more do I need to do?
Right.
Show me, give me your will. What's your plan for me? Because God's plan for us is not that we be stuck. It's not that we stay where we are. He's always moving and he's always speaking. And in his word, in Jeremiah, I think chapter 29, it says that he knows the plans that he has for us, and that's that we prosper and be successful, and that no harm come to us, and no harm be done to us. And we self-harm when we're sitting there indulging in thoughts that cause us to feel like we're worthless, because that's eventually what it does. We wear away at ourselves, and our self-esteem starts going downhill.
And then there's no hope, and then you're just going backwards. Now you're going backwards. Because like you said, to be stuck, that's not a place. And I think that goes to this title we got, because I really want to talk about the song more in depth, some of the lyrics of the song. Who do you have, or for the things that you've done, because you've obviously done a lot in a small amount of time. You're a young woman. And I know that you got to have a support system if you're doing that. You got to have a good core group around you that's feeding into you. Who would you say has been instrumental in your life as you've been progressing and hitting new milestones?
Right. Several people that I've just taken bits and pieces from. And there was a time in my life where I didn't want to hear what everybody had to say.
Right.
So I was good on my own. But I've looked at just several people. I mean, it could be the worst person, but you learn from the things that they're doing wrong.
That's good.
And then those people that you see are doing right. And I've also had to learn that I can't put those people on a pedestal, because they mess up. And if I'm just looking at everything one person is doing and trying to learn from them, and they mess up, then I feel like, I'm going back into my shell. I don't want to have to deal with that person. But just several people, I feel like every person I've come into contact with, I've tried to learn something from them. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. You just said something that's so profound. You can learn from everyone in every situation, whether you're learning what to do or what not to do. You're still learning, and that's powerful. And then you use the phrase "take with me." You're learning not to point finger. You're learning so that you can take that tool. That's just adding tools to your toolbox of success. Like, no, we don't pick up that tool of gossip or hatefulness or being idle. Let me pick up this tool that I learned from grandma, this tool that I learned from cousin, or this tool that I learned from that lady at the grocery store. So I think that's really good. I know I stopped you. Do you remember your train of thought? You were about to say something else. I'm not sure. I know I left off, or I was talking about just trying to learn something from everybody that I interact with or come into contact with. Even things about myself that I need to change. My attitude sometimes, and my actions, how I interact with people, especially people that I don't know. if I'm going to a restaurant or if I'm getting food delivered to my house, I've had those experiences where I've learned from people. Because otherwise, back then, not just be like, okay, give me my food, bye. I don't want to have a conversation with you. But now I'm more open to that, and you want to look for not only trying to grab something from other people, but what can I say to this person to help them, or what can I do that can get them on their way or help them in whatever situation they're going through.
Because you're not just praise leader or worship leader on Sunday. And I know that there are a lot of people who are working in ministry now that are volunteer, and they may not feel as though they are a leader, but they're a pretty consistent part, and their church counts and depends on them for that ministry that they're in. The next shift is taking that ministry and knowing that title, you wear it still every single day.
Oh, I've learned that big time, because I'm a teacher at a high school.
Okay.
And I'm a worship leader at a church. And at first, I felt like I had to be two different people.
Right.
I felt like I couldn't be that same person. Even as far as, trying to leave church outside of school. So, and that's a big thing, and that's a challenging thing. But I've learned, my kids have challenged me. I've learned that there are things that I don't have to give them a scripture or throw God on them, but I'm that same person, because God has called us to be encouraging and to uplift each other. And so I have to be that person at church on Sunday, and I have to be that person at work.
Right.
During the week.
It's either you or it's not you.
Right.
You're either wearing that or
I'm not.
Or you're not wearing it. And it's more so, it's either in you or it's not in you. Because we have this shell that carts around and protects the essence of who we are. And that who you are does not change.
Right. And if you don't bring that person out, God will find a situation to bring it out of you.
To remind you and bring you out of you. So that's good. That's really good. I want to talk about, we were talking about this a little bit behind the scenes on the break. When we go back to, let's say, identifying our gifts or a purpose or a passion, and if you're asking yourself, how can I use this in church, or how can I now, how do I find my place in the kingdom and what I'm doing, my role? Again, if you look back to what did you like to do? Well, what was your passion when you were, quote unquote, of the world? We use these examples of singing and dancing. That's what you like to do naturally. You can definitely, I encourage people, and I'm so thankful that I'm part of a church body that encourages you to just be yourself. Whether you're in church or at your home, what you are doing in your home that you're comfortable with, you should be able to bring that right into the house. And that there is a way, and that will be designed to edify the kingdom and edify your local church. So again, if you are someone and you're saying, what do? I don't know what to do. I know now I'm in church, but I just don't want to be in here. What can I do? Go back to, what are your natural gifts? What are your hobbies? What are your likes, your passions, habitual things that you already do that you enjoy, and see how you can bring them into the church.
And sometimes it's just the fact that you may be good at something or have a gift, but we hear about the same things. I can say going to a church, and when you go through the new membership thing, or you want to join the church, they have the little card, and it says, which ministry do you want to join? You want to do this, 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 or this. And sometimes the gift you have or what you're good at is not on there. It's not on the checklist.
That's good,
and so a lot of the times we don't want to step out and say, well, I'm good at this. I can do this for your church. I can do this for the kingdom. We think it doesn't apply because it's unheard of, when maybe God wants you to start that up. And I mean, it may take off and other churches implement it. And sometimes you have to start. You have to be the fire starter.
That's good, because some of us were called to be fire starters. And that's why it's so important to know your gifts, to know who you are, but most importantly, to start that work to pursue what is your purpose. Why am I here? Because if you don't know, you'll miss your box. And we don't want to be people that are put into boxes, but you do need to know the box you're in. I have a box. I know my lane. So if I'm looking at a document and it doesn't have it, I know how to check other. I'm that other. That's what other is for. So you better know what your frame of mind, your frame of reference, and what your purpose is, so that you can say, oh, where's other? You already know you're not going to be in any of these boxes. Let me find other and write out what that is. And I think that's really powerful to say, hey, I am a fire starter, and start being able to affirm and declare who and what you are. Right. No, I don't fit in any of this. I know what I like to do. I know what I'm good at. I don't know why. But that's something inside of me, that innate, that constant urging or nagging feeling of some things like, I hear people say that all the time. I don't know why I always got to do this, but here I go. But because they want to do something else, and they're totally acting and working out of their purpose. And I think that we just have to encourage people to know and to give them that level of comfort that they need to start moving and walking in that design. That's good. Anything you want to say? I thought you had a thought. Oh, no. I saw a thought on your right side. Again, we're here, Rhema Gospel Radio 101.5 with Travé, Nicole Hunter, author and singer. We're going to talk a little bit more about your single, Shift This Place. Do you remember getting that download for Shift This Place?
Wow, I do. And it actually did not make much of sense to me until I pretty much had it together. It wasn't perfect. I wasn't close to putting it out yet, but I was at a point where I had to be listening to it because there were other stages I had to go through in the publishing process or before I went to mixing and mastering. And I remember I was in my car driving to work. And the route that I take, because 45 is really busy, and I live in Conroe, so I take the back roads to 59. And it's, especially in the morning when it's dark, there's absolutely nothing anywhere. And so it just seems like a deserted kind of dry land. And I was playing a song and I'm like, wow, shift this place. Just shift this place. There's nothing here. It just seems like there needs to be some kind of growth and some kind of prosperity that needs to come about. There's nothing here. I'm pretty much driving through the middle of nowhere. And then I started to just apply it to just different things that could be going on. I think during that time we had some prayer points at church where we talked about, praying against human trafficking, praying against drugs and all of that. Like, wow, a lot of that goes on in the city of Houston. Right. And so I even applied it to that. And then when we talk about being stuck, that's a part of shifting this place. And you just think about the things that we really need here, not just in the city, but in our nation, the things that we need. And it applies to that. Like, I'm tired of being here. I'm tired of, I'm progressing, but the people around me are not. That's big. And sometimes it feels like when you're the one person that's getting up there, getting out, and you feel happy or you have joy, and everybody else around you it starts bringing you down. And so that, to me, that's like an environment that it kind of was like, that's that place. I'm driving through this place and there's nothing but trees and grass, and the trees and the grass represent the other people that are pulling me down. It's so dreary and sad looking. And I need God to come in and make some changes. Wow.
And that, being able, as we start winding down with our time, of knowing that when you're in a place and you can identify, I'm in a place that is uncomfortable, that I don't like, that I no longer want to be in, and being able to call out and say, God, shift this place, change this. I have no control. I don't have the power. I don't have the strength. When you can get to that place to just go outside of yourself and ask him and believe that he can change something, miraculous things begin to happen, because you lose all that worry, anxiety, and doubt about what can be. What can be.
It's kind of, the thing I think about is, okay, so when you're driving down the road, 45. I'll use 45 as an example. When you're driving down 45, yes, it is. A long road that has all kinds of traffic and crazy drivers. And you're there. I drive a car. I hate driving behind trucks and SUVs because I can't see what's in front of me. I can control how fast or slow I'm going. I can switch lanes if I want to. But if I can't see where I'm going, I get frustrated. I'm not at the point where I get road rage anymore. I've been delivered from that. But but if you're on a plane and you're going higher, you're assigned the seat or you choose a seat, but when you get that seat, you have to stay in that one seat. So you have to stay in your lane. You can't see anything ahead of you. And that makes me nervous. You know, it makes me frustrated. Sometimes I don't sleep the night before so I can just go to sleep. But when you're there, you have to put your full and complete trust in God, because you're going somewhere. You don't know how you're going to get to that location. You know you're going somewhere. You know the destination you're trying to get to. You don't know how you're going to go there. And you really have to just let go and just let him take you there. Same with the Israelites who were in the desert. They knew that, you know, God was trying to get them to the promised land. They definitely did not see how they were going to get there. They were in the wilderness and God was giving them manna. They didn't like that, and they had to put their complete and total trust in him, which they did not do more often than not. But it's all about giving God that control and letting him take over and get us to where we need to be going. Instead of staying stuck. Sometimes we want to go back to that place where we were stuck, because at least we were comfortable. We felt like we had what we needed. Not knowing that, you know, that may run out.
That it may
and
run out.
And we may begin to starve and thirst and be hungry.
You thought it was bad. Let me show you how bad it can get. But that's good. That's really birthing the gift inside of you. I know there's so much on the inside of you that you probably haven't even been able to see yet, and that will manifest in the years to come. So I'm just excited to begin now tagging along and watching your journey and see what else comes out and what he has for you. As we wind down in time, I would like for you to talk to the listeners about that rebirthing. So once that gift is outside, now how have you, I talked about last week the importance of your birthday, and that you're reborn each day. You're going to die to yourself, and so you're coming about new each time. Now as a woman, and even since July 1st, and you've had a new birth. Right. Once you let that gift out, can you talk to us about the birthing process, how it feels to be renewed? What does that do for you, and how does it give you energy to keep going?
Well, now you know, when you're birthing something,
come on, talk about it.
It comes with all kinds of challenges and pain. And I can honestly say, I can testify that since I turned 29, it has not been easy. Yeah. It has been a struggle for me. And, you know, when I turned 29 on July 1st, on my birthday, that's when my single was put out. And I had no idea it was going to be out that day, but it happened that way. And that whole week was a struggle for me. It was a challenge for me. There were all kinds of things happening just left and right. And it's just, I'm at the point now where I can feel things about to happen. I feel greatness coming. I feel that there's more inside of me. And that's just on the inside. But on the outside, all this craziness is going on. And so I guess it's the same way. You know you have a baby inside of you. You know it has to be birthed. On the outside, it's chaotic from what I hear from other people, you know, that are going into labor, that it's chaotic. Yeah. But on the inside, there's something that's so great and so sweet that's happening and that's about to come out. And going through a rebirth, it's kind of like you're getting to know yourself. Not getting to know yourself all over again, but getting to know the you that you didn't even know. That's the rebirth process. Getting to know the you didn't even know. I mean, when you have your first baby, and I haven't had any kids yet, so I'm not sure, but just from what I would think is you turn into a different person. You're not the same person anymore. Now you have a new personality. You're a mother. You weren't a mother before. So there's a whole different way of thinking. You may be more protective now because you have a child. You do things differently. You talk differently. You don't hang around in the same environments anymore because you have this baby. You have this person looking up to you. It's the same way for me. I was comfortable sitting back in the church, got my people with me, did my poetry here and there, wrote my books, sang every Sunday, and now it's out there for other people to hear, for other people to read, for other people to see. So I have these new babies these new people that I'm called to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing things differently now. More people are watching me, so I have to change my character.
Absolutely.
I have to really become the person that God has called me to be for the kingdom, for these other people. And that in itself, that's the rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
I was born this person. I didn't really know much, but as I started to grow and learn more and be more connected to him, when I know more of who he is, I'm starting to figure out, oh, this is who I am. This is who I'm supposed to be. No, I'm not that person every day. I messed up.
Yeah, we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect.
But,
yeah.
you know, and that, like you said, takes being reborn every day. Renew my mind. Let me die to my flesh.
Yeah.
Clean my heart. Forgive me for everything I did wrong and help me to start anew.
That's very good. And with that birthing process, we all, you know, we admire these women when they're pregnant and their bellies and whatnot. But in order to get that precious little baby, you must go through labor.
Right.
It's not called labor for no reason.
Right.
It's only one. It is work. And it's not just work. It is a continual thing. That's why it's labor.
Right.
You are laboring. It is a process of work. And so as we go into this week, I want to remind everyone, as you're birthing, just know the promise. You get to see the promise. It's going to be precious. It's going to be glorious, but you are going to have to go through. You will have to labor, but worry not, fret not. Anything, you will be blessed because of the effort that you put in. And God will bless your efforts. You just got to keep your eye on the prize. And so I thank you for joining us today. Keep following Travé Nicole Hunter. Tell us your Facebook.
Facebook, Travé Nicole. Instagram, Travé.Nicole. And you can find me on YouTube as well.
Be blessed. Go birth the gift inside of you. Yay. That's it, Carla. Push. Thank you guys behind the scenes on this blueprint for joining in today. I really pray that you enjoyed today's series or topic discussion on birthing the gift inside of you. I encourage each and every one of you to take some time today, this week. If you have not identified your gifts, if you're still working on your purpose, to really take some private time. Go to the park, go for a walk, go to the movie, go get a manicure, pedicure, whatever it is, that a place, get yourself into a place that your mind can be clear and that you can begin to talk out loud. And I'm telling you, if you start talking out loud, whether you're talking to your God, you just talking, you will invite the Holy Spirit in to direct you. He is your helper. As you start talking out that frustration, that confusion, that unease, he's going to start coming in and urging you and moving those thoughts in the direction that they need to go. But you have to be willing to put it out there. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going, or I want to do this. I want to start doing this. And let him be your advocate, be your helper to guide you in the direction that you want to go. And I pray that as you do that, and you can journal it if you're a writer, whatever your medium is, but just put it out in the atmosphere and invite the Holy Spirit in to direct you and to lead you. And I just pray that you will be encouraged, and it's exciting. It really is exciting once you discover. You're going to get a sense of peace about yourself, of how good it feels just to walk in what's natural and to be unapologetic about it.
To have that boldness.
There you go.
That holy boldness.
Have that holy boldness. That holy boldness about what it is that you should be doing. And you will find that just God is so precious. I always say, man, I so appreciate you, Lord, that you do things in your timing, in your way, with your swag, to make it the best for me. You want to say anything? Last little words?
Well, thank you for inviting me on the show.
It was a pleasure. You did a very good job.
Thank you.
Speak very well.
Thank you. All right, guys.
It's Monday. That means
stay
money
blessed.
making.
Make that money.
Go do some things. So thank you. Be blessed. Have a great week.